This happened about 2 years ago. During my sophomore year of college, I was attending a university in upstate New York, about a 3-hour drive from my hometown. It was late October, and the weather had already turned bitterly cold. It was a Friday, and I had stayed late on campus to finish a group project. By the time we wrapped things up, it was already past 11 p.m. Most people would have just stayed in their dorms and driven the next morning. But I was desperate to get home for the weekend. My mom's birthday was the next day, and I had promised her I'd be there for breakfast. That was my first mistake. The drive started out fine. I hopped onto Route 9, a long, winding highway that cuts through miles of thick, dark woods. If you've ever driven through upstate New York at night, you know how empty these roads can get. There are no streetlights, no gas stations for miles, and barely any cell phone reception. About an hour into the drive, the weather took a turn for the worse. A thick, heavy fog rolled in, reducing my visibility to just a few feet in front of my hood. I had to slow down to about 30 miles per hour. It was incredibly stressful. The only thing keeping me awake was the low hum of my car's heater and a true crime podcast playing quietly through my speakers. Then, suddenly, I felt a violent shudder through the steering wheel. A loud, metallic, grinding noise echoed from underneath my hood. Before I could even react, the battery light flashed on my dashboard, and the engine completely died. The power steering went stiff, and I barely managed to coast my car onto the narrow shoulder of the road, right next to the tree line. I sat there in total darkness for a moment, my heart hammering against my chest. The headlights were gone. The heater stopped. The only light was the dim glow of my phone screen. I looked at the signal bars. 0, no service. I grabbed my flashlight from the glove box, pulled my jacket tight, and stepped out into the freezing fog to pop the hood. I know absolutely nothing about cars, but I hoped it was just something simple like a loose cable. As I stared blankly at the engine, the absolute silence of the woods around me felt suffocating. That's when I heard it. The faint sound of tires crunching on gravel. I turned around and saw 2 dim headlights slowly emerging from the fog. A rusted, dark blue pickup truck pulled up right behind my dead car. The driver didn't get out immediately. He just sat there, keeping his high beams on, completely blinding me. After what felt like an eternity, the driver's side door creaked open. A tall man in a heavy canvas jacket and a baseball cap stepped out. He looked to be in his late 40s, with a rough, unshaven face. He didn't look inherently dangerous, but something about the way he moved, slow and deliberate, made my stomach drop. "Car trouble?" he asked. His voice was raspy, but he tried to sound polite. "Yeah," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "Engine just cut out on me. I don't have any cell service here." "Yeah, dead zone," the man said, walking closer. He stood just a few feet away from me, looking under my hood. "I know a bit about these models. Mind if I take a look?" Against my better judgment, I nodded. "Sure, thank you." He leaned over the engine, tinkering with a few wires. I stood back on the grass, watching him closely. But then, I noticed something weird. He wasn't really looking at the engine. His eyes kept darting toward the inside of my car, scanning my dashboard, my back seat, and then looking back at me. "You driving all alone tonight?" he asked casually, without looking up. A massive red flag went off in my brain. Never tell a stranger you are alone. "No," I lied quickly. "My boyfriend is actually sleeping in the back seat. He was exhausted from work." The man stopped moving. He slowly straightened his back and turned his head to look at my back windows, which were heavily tinted and fogged up. A strange, unsettling smile crept onto his face. "Is that so?" he whispered. He didn't say anything else. He walked back to his pickup truck, opened the driver's side door, and reached inside. I thought he was getting a tool, but when he came back out, his hands were empty. Instead, he walked past my car, straight toward the passenger side door. He grabbed the passenger door handle and pulled it hard. Thankfully, I always lock my doors automatically. When it didn't open, he didn't look surprised. He just looked through the glass, trying to peer into the darkness of the inside. "Hey, what are you doing?" I yelled, backing away toward the woods. The man turned to me, his polite demeanor completely gone. His face was entirely blank. "Just wanted to wake your boyfriend up. See if he could give us a hand." My heart was beating so fast I could hear it in my ears. I knew right then that if I didn't do something, I was going to become a statistic. I didn't think. I just reached into my pocket, grabbed my car key fob, and held down the panic button. The car's horn started honking violently, and the hazard lights began flashing rapidly, illuminating the entire foggy road in bright red and yellow bursts. The sudden, deafening noise caught the man completely off guard. He jumped back, looking around frantically as if worried the noise would attract someone else. He glared at me with pure hatred. For a second, I thought he was going to lunge at me, but instead he turned around, ran back to his pickup truck, threw it into reverse, and slammed on the gas. He sped backwards into the fog, turned his truck around, and vanished down the highway. I stood there shaking, crying, with the alarm still blaring. I scrambled into my driver's seat, locked all the doors, and turned off the panic alarm. I sat in the dark for another 2 hours, clutching my flashlight like a weapon, until a state trooper finally drove by and saw my hazard lights. The police searched the area, but they never found the blue pickup truck or the man. When the mechanic checked my car the next day, he found something that chilled me to the bone. The main wire to my alternator hadn't snapped on its own. It had been cleanly cut with a pair of wire cutters. Someone had sabotaged my car while it was parked on campus, just waiting for me to break down in the dark. To this day, I never drive alone at night. And if my car ever breaks down again, I will never stay outside to talk to a stranger.